if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
So unless you've been living under a rock, you know there's been an assassination attempt on former President Donald J. Trump. And this is no time to be playing with the man's name, so I guess I'll do my best to refrain. Now, what we found out since this Saturday afternoon, July 13th, shooting that took place during a campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, is that it was perpetrated by one Thomas Matthew Crooks, a 20-year-old of Bethel, Pennsylvania. According to CNN, he was not a well-known student while in high school, and apparently he was bullied, but there is no real evidence to this other than the guy who said it, and this was on CNN, so, take that as you will. Then we found out that the young man, who apparently was a registered Republican, but who also donated to progressive causes, was a member of the Clairton Sportsman's Club, where he apparently was a clay shooter. Now, not much is known of his political leanings, considering he didn't so much as leave a manifesto as what has been the norm, like in the case of Chris Dorner or Audrey Hale, the Covenant school shooter. I mean, even his cell phone revealed no leanings in any particular political direction. All they found was that he had the location of where Trump was that day, as well as where Biden was going to be at the Democratic National Convention in August. For that, it's reported that Trump's Secret Service knew of dude's whereabouts at least 20 minutes prior to the event. And other sources reported that he was considered a person of interest at least an hour before that. However, for whatever reason, they ain't act to neutralize dude until the suspect, got active. And reports show that local police also knew of Crooks' whereabouts prior to the shooting and even may have made an attempt to engage with the suspect from his rooftop vantage point. According to the New York Post, local Butler Township police located Crooks on the roof, who then aimed his rifle at the officers before they retreated, and he re-aimed his shot before ultimately firing on the president. So basically it was like so he's on the roof, he's aiming one direction, cops behind him say, hey, police. And he's like, hey, go away. Then they're like, oh, then they go down. Then he goes and continues aiming and then makes his, does his thing. As for Trump, he was just beginning the best ramble, folks. It was the greatest ramble, the best rambling ever. When the shots rang out from his right. 3 shots are heard being fired, and one can only assume that the shots were the ones that injured the former president, and at least one other that struck and killed bystander Corey Camperatori, former chief of the Buffalo Township Volunteer Fire Company and father. 2 others were also injured in the melee, and they were David Dutch of New Kensington and James Copenhaver of Moon, Pennsylvania. Now, Trump was immediately covered, kinda, by the Secret Service, who he was able to fight through to show to the crowd that he was okay. Amazing assessment made in a matter of seconds before eschewing his speech and shooing down the stairs with his damaged ear in plain sight for all to see. Now, since then, the former president has seemed to have quite quickly recovered, emerging almost immediately from the clutches of the brink of death to double down on many of his ideals that he had before the shots even rang out. Oh, my bad. We did kind of get straight to it. Roll the intro. What is good? What is good? Ladies and gentlemen, I am Seven Blackman, and this is The Blackman Show, a place where we can dissect the news with a little bit of 7 cents. And if your boy seems to be a shade or 2 darker, well, that is because I got my summer glow going, ladies and gentlemen, provided by the sunshine over the African continent, where my wife, my son, and I were able to explore the Indian Ocean, among other things. So if y'all want to hear about it, I'll possibly do a video or something like that on it, but only if this one can get to about 100 likes. If we can get to 100 likes, I'm your man. Let's talk about it. So with that said, smash that like button like it's your only chance with your high school crush who still got it. What's good, Maria? And I thank y'all so much for helping your boy get to that 500 mark, actually getting over it. And as always, we've got to keep striving for something bigger.
Thinking big, bitch. You need to be thinking big, bitch. Think big, bitch.
So the new goal is to get to 2,500 subs, and I need you to spread this word to where the goats can get it. RIP to Joe Madison. Share this work with your people. Do all the things, but without further ado, let us continue. Okay, so your boy Trump strolled into the RNC convention with the energy of a Ray Lewis squirrel dance, and this was shortly after posting this little message on his social media site, Truth Social, that reads, as me move forward in uniting our nation after the horrific events on Sunday, this dismissal of the lawless indictment on Florida should just be the first step, folks. Followed quickly by the dismissal of all the witch hunts, the January 6th hoax in Washington, D.C., the Manhattan DA's zombie case, the New York AG scam, fake claims about a woman I never met, a decades-old photo, and a line with her then-husband does not count, and the Georgia perfect phone call charges. Why does he have perfect in quotation marks? That almost indicates that he doesn't believe that it was perfect. Moving on. The Democrat Justice Department coordinated all of these political attacks, which are an election interference conspiracy against Joe Biden's political opponent, me. Let us come together to end all weaponization of our justice system and make America great again, folks. So what part of that was supposed to ring the alarm that, you know, hey y'all, we need to chill. We all in the same gang, right? Have we learned nothing from Kendrick reuniting the West Side while dancing on the alleged pedophilia of a Toronto actor rap gangster from the middle class? The GOP, we all in the same gang. I mean, we all knew that for decades that they was basically in the same gang at this point, but we thought that was supposed to be the unifying message, you know, telling us to unite under providence, because the thought of one of our leaders, beloved or vilified as he may be, has been under attack, and having a unified nation is to be the resounding battle cry. Instead we get, hey folks, can't you see how they're out to get me, folks? Can't you see how nothing can stop me? I am inevitable. And since y'all are already busy kissing Trump's truck nuts, you can go ahead and clear him of all the other shit that y'all been chasing him for, regardless of how relevant it may be. And that's evidence in the way that he was referring to things. I mean, he just won't let shit go. The phone call was not perfect, Donald. You knew that, lady. And without the help of a stacked Supreme Court, there's no way that anybody would think a president doing crimes is above the law. But that's where we are now. But before even talking about where we are, I'd like to go back, you know, to where we started, because I've got questions. Because look, this whole shooting is just a little interesting. Yeah, I guess my 7 senses are tingling, baby. Go ahead, baby. Okay, first, going back to Thomas Crooks, the guy has zero background, for real. No friends, but all we know is the stuff that could attribute to this sort of outcome. He was bullied, he was a good shot, and he had access to his father's AR-styled weapon that the father bought 9 years ago. Okay, so we know all of this, but why is this all that we know? What motive would he have for doing such a thing? Is this some
George Wallace
type shit? Look that up if you will. Where somebody is trying to get the attention of a certain Hollywood actress. I mean, why else would a 20-year-old be this radicalized and act out this strongly when they've shown no sign of aggression beforehand? Oh yeah, that's right. He was bullied, so that justifies it, right? And then in his phone, he had the location of the Democratic convention. What was the plan, to go there after this? How? I mean, how were you planning on getting out of there? Seriously, I mean, okay, so you hit the man. he goes down. Did you think that everybody would be so distraught and so mesmerized by, the spectacle over here that you could just escape out the back way on some Homer Simpson through the bush type stuff? I'm just trying to understand what you was thinking. And one other thing about it, they found bomb-making materials in his vehicle. What does that even mean? I mean, the 4th of July did just pass. Was it just fireworks? Or was it something from the anarchist cookbook? I'm just saying. What are they saying when they speak in these vague terms? Please, hit me up in the comments. And I'm not saying I know everything at all. I'm just saying. And look, to be honest, I'm not going to hold you. I'm not the biggest Trump fan. Shocker. I know. But I wouldn't ever say that I want the man to have any sort of event like this to take place, however specious. What I mean is things just look weird. And when things look weird, I can't help it. I ask questions. Okay, so Trump, right? He seems to be pointing right at, at the direction of the shooter. And you can make of that what you will. But I'm thinking the shot was like so close at an angle that he was standing at. I mean, the thing must have been fractions of inches from hitting anything vital. His arm, his he could have, if it was under his armpit or something like that, he could have bled out from hitting the right artery there. It obviously could have hit his brain. I mean, all of that stuff. So there's the potential of that having taken place. Now, I've seen some say that he wasn't actually hit with a bullet, but with shards of glass from the teleprompter that only hit the back of his head, missing his face entirely. So let me get this straight. Teleprompter, sure. Likely made of fiberglass or something like that, some non-destructive, tempered something. I'm thinking it's something that is not going to shatter immediately. So some sort of style like that, right? It gets hit by an AR styled weapon, right? And it breaks to the point where Peace cuts the tip of the president's ear in the back. And what's that saying of the power of the rifle used? That at about 450 feet away, the trajectory will be knocked off by the teleprompter? I mean, it's plausible. It is plausible. It's possible. It's possible. Well, then there are a few things after that. You see the way the Secret Service pulled him and barely held him down for what seemed like, a matter of seconds? How did they know that the threat was neutralized in that short period of time? But Seven, they're wearing the headsets and stuff, you silly goose. Okay, yeah, that may be. But how did they know already that he was the only one? I mean, because look, if I think somebody else is trying to shoot at my people while we already may have knocked out the one that we know about, right? We not about to sit and flex for the people, immediately show off, look what they did to me, and be able to, somehow quickly assess that they're good enough to walk physically and get all their faculties and all that. They're not in shock, all of that stuff in a matter of seconds, while making sure they show the good side to the cameras. Okay, I won't do that. Maybe that's just me. I wouldn't do it, but maybe I'm a strange character and being. Everyone else is the norm. I'm the weird one. I get it. That's it. That's gotta be it. And let's be real. If you know anything about history, you can take a quick look back at how President Reagan was treated when the shots rang out toward him in an assassination attempt. I think that was shortly after his inauguration, as a matter of fact. And look, he was covered and moved out of there by one group of servicemen, while the other Secret Servicemen neutralized the whole threat and searched for the others. They looking up and around for others to see if they see anything up and around, right? The ones who was there with Trump that day, they looking down, not up. They're not looking up to see whatever else might be coming. And I'm just saying, to me, that just looks a little interesting. And I'm just saying, if we can't have these conversations, then I guess you're okay with pretty lies over the ugly truths. And that's fine. That's you, but that's fine. I mean, ultimately, I just ask that if you decide to take to the comment section, do so because you have answers for my questions or to humor some of your own observations, not because I made your feel bad hurt. We grown. Let's be grown, right? And I didn't even want to get into this, but did you see the picture of his ear? Where specific? Okay. Where specifically did he get hit? That's the question. Where did he get hit? All I could see was red on an ear. Now I couldn't see its origins, or is it oranges?
They now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation, the beginnings.
Now, I won't claim to have the best eyes. I mean, look, I'm getting up in age. Sometimes I can't see the things that are right before me. Look, I wear glasses and all that, you know what I'm saying? So whatever makes the answers fit. Am I right? Right? Okay. And then there's the shooting itself. Now, I believe I heard 3 shots. Y'all forgive me if you're wrong. Maybe you all heard something different than I did, but many others have also reported as much. 3 shots. So I think we can agree that maybe 3 shots were fired by Thomas Crooks before he was unalived. Okay. But there are 4 victims. So maybe that means that someone shot was from, you know what? Hey, I ain't gonna hold you. Now, if anything I'm saying carries a lick of merit, the next obvious questions would be, who would do this? And more importantly, why? And while I honestly have no answers to either one of those, I will ask you, look, if you're of the mindset that things looked a little strange, or that maybe the answers and responses provided by the mainstream media didn't seem to match what we actually saw, why do you think someone will make such a production? What would they have to gain? What would anybody have to gain? And why didn't it feel as enthralling, you know, as you think something of such magnitude would? I mean, it can't be because of low production quality. This was done in 4K, people. All I know is a man who's known for the dramatic did just that. Legitimate or however you feel. I'm not saying that it didn't really happen as stated, but I'm saying that stuff be at a slant.
I saw it on the news.
Come on, that should be having a slant.
Stuff don't always look as it seems, and flat out, people lie, especially when they want you to do something irrational or do something that you normally wouldn't otherwise. And that's why I waited to put this one out. I mean, to me, there were just too many reactive reports out there just trying to ride the wave of who's first. Being right, be damned.
What is the long-term effect of too much information? One of the effects is the need to be first, not even to be true anymore. So what a responsibility you all have to tell the truth, not just to be first, but to tell the truth. We live in a society now where it's just first. Who cares? Get it out there. We don't care who it hurts. We don't care who we destroy. We don't care if it's true. Just say it, sell it. Anything you practice, you'll get good at, including BS.
Now, I don't know if there were multiple shooters, but I do know the Secret Service seemed to be okay with Trump pumping a fist so quickly after being shot. I don't know if this was a fake shooting, because real people did die, and that cannot be overlooked. But I also know that real people died in the Kennedy assassination, and that was fake, at least its purported reasoning was. I'm sorry. And I don't know if this will turn into more votes for a former president doing his best job of avoiding legal and financial accountability at all costs, while slowly threatening revenge to his opposition, an end to the Department of Education, and financially penalizing schools that teach about slavery. But I do know that some have become even more hardened in their support of the Don. In their eyes, this man can't do no wrong. I mean, to them, he is, dare I say it, a living martyr. He is Jesus without the actual, pesky crucifixion part getting in the way. He is Dr. King with a bullet graze. No longer a dream deferred. He's just a dream with scars. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. A near-death experience is all it takes to absolutely absolve the asshole aspirant actively aiming at all-out authoritarianism as we are arrested, amazed, and absorbed, admiring the astonishing affair. Look, and I know this thing is already getting long, but can we briefly talk about the fact that the crowd just stood still during all of this? Are we that mesmerized nowadays from social media and all that, just with spectacle in general, that we can't get out the effing way when there's an active shooter on the loose? Have we not learned anything from the Vegas shooting? And for real, why was he less reactive in this actual shooting than he was when a balloon popped? I mean, I get that people don't like history. So maybe me speaking about JFK is before everybody's time. Hell, I know it's before mine, but this was 2016. I mean, and all of this has people kind of questioning, what was this for views? Because let's be honest, nobody is really watching the Republican National Convention according to the ratings. Probably because you got to show your AAP card to log in, but they are slowly plotting to make Handmaid's Tale a reality. And that's what happens when you have a bunch of people saying that there is overpopulation while at the same time pushing to end Roe v. Wade, and then nominating a VP who has the belief that abortion should be nationally illegal. And trust, when they're looking to keep the babies, there's only a certain type that they're truly aiming for. I mean, look, I mean, let's be honest. And look, we can't even get to the fact that tap dancing Tim Scott did all that shucking and jiving trying to sell his melanin to the GOP for their disposal in the hopes that he'd become the selected VP. So you can pack up your America is not racist rhetoric for the next Caucasian man to whom you'll pledge fealty, because Trump selected tech billionaire Peter Thiel's yes man friend, J.D. Vance, which we can't even get to right now. And speaking of selling out, I can only imagine how Amber Rose's black mama feels about her saying that she ain't black, while still pimping that early 2000s talentless video vixen vajayjay to what she hopes is a new crop of OnlyFans participants. Coupon in the description. It's not really in the description. Cut it out. Quick question, Amber. Now, unless they are tribal, they tend not to pay attention to people with face tattoos. So who are you actually talking to? Who are you luring over to their side? Look, they have all the thems they need, and many of us don't mess with you. So who of us are you bringing to them? I'm just wondering. And lastly, as we bring this thing full circle, going back to the whole point of this thing, the shooting, what if Trump is crying wolf? Let's just say everything that I'm saying is true and he actually is crying wolf. I mean, because it's not like it would be his first time. Do we not recall when, in the midst of high racial tensions and pandemic unrest during his presidency, this man chose to walk and pose in front of a closed church holding a Bible that he likely never reads?
2 Corinthians, right? 2 Corinthians.
Holding it upside down, all for a poorly timed photo op. I mean, basically that was like the equivalent of him saying, let me show unity and strength when I actually have no idea what they look like, how to actually procure it. And if I'm being honest, I kind of like the chaos. I mean, what's that to say of a man who never got attention from his father, who wouldn't do something drastic in order to garner sympathy, attention, and even votes from a people clamoring for leadership? Look, to me, we just got to be more discerning. Just because somebody got shot does not make them suddenly better at the bad job that they've already done, or objectively better than the guy who can barely make it up a flight of stairs, or do basic articulation. But look,
Everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
But at the same time, it's not like the Dems have an answer to what the hell they're going to do about Joe. But I think we all can agree. However, drunk Auntie Kamala is not the answer. So what do you make of the attempt on the former president? Was it for show or for show? Do you think there was more to it, or was it as reported, with nothing more or less needed? I'd love to know your thoughts down in those comments. I'll get down there with you so we can keep the convo going. Or y'all can tell me that you think I'm crazy. Either way, can't wait. But that's it for this week. I hope you dug this one. I know y'all usually don't seem to like it too much when I'm talking about politics, but hey, when there's a shooting, I don't know. Those seem to do a little bit better. But either way, I am Seven Blackman, and this is The Blackman Show. Don't forget to like and sub a dub and help your boy get to 2,500. And remember, 100 likes and I'll put out a My Trip to Africa video, or, you know, at least a live stream. And bonus points if you can tell me what this is. It ain't that. But I think it would be interesting to kind of, you know, discuss some of the things I encountered and my takeaways from it, as well as, you know, all of that good stuff. But that's up to y'all. I don't know, maybe I can bring some of the people I travel with too. So, you know, maybe that way it's not just a my perspective sort of thing, but more of a conversation. You dig? Anyway, I'm hopeful that regardless of whatever political games are played out there, we can understand that we always are stronger together than we ever are apart. And if you got to fight, look, you may as well fight to your death, because at the end of the day, none of us will make it out alive. Think about that. But until then, peace. And we out.